and welcome to the program. This edition of Newsroom series covering Nigeria's Northeast. I am Bukola Koka. In furtherance of efforts to strengthen primary health care and expand access to essential health services for vulnerable populations, the federal government, in conjunction with the Taraba state government, has flagged off the 2026 Basic Healthcare Provision Fund enrollment. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund serves as a platform through which the government implements its health insurance coverage for pregnant women, children under age 5, the elderly, persons with disability, and other indigent residents.
For thousands of vulnerable residents in Taraba State, access to health care is becoming less of a financial burden and more of a guaranteed right. That commitment is on display in Wukari, where traditional rulers, health workers, women, government officials and community members witnessed the launch of the 2026 Basic Healthcare Provision Fund Enrollment Program, another step in the state's drive towards universal health coverage, ensuring that the poorest and the most vulnerable residents can obtain essential health care without the fear of catastrophic medical bills. Having already enrolled more than 128,000 vulnerable residents through the National Identity Number platform, the state government says no resident should be denied treatment because they cannot afford to pay.
I'm also pleased to emphasize that all covered healthcare services under the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund and the KEFAS Care Health Insurance Program are provided free of charge at the point of service for enrolled beneficiaries. This protects families from catastrophic healthcare expenditure and ensure that financial barriers do not prevent access to quality care.
The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, implemented under the KEFAS COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus Health Program, is expanding financial protection for vulnerable groups while strengthening primary healthcare facilities and improving access to essential medical services.
We want a situation where every citizen of our state will have access, uninhibited access to quality health care, regardless of their economic status, regardless of their age, regardless of their tribe, their religion, their political inclination. We don't want to care. We don't want to know about which political party they belong to. All we are after is that every member, everybody in Taraba State should have access to this quality health care.
These ongoing health reforms are focused on building a system that is accessible, affordable, and equitable through sustained investment and people-centered policies.
Tell others that government is putting machinery on ground to make sure that people who don't have the wherewithal to treat themselves can access resources through the Taraba State Contributory Health Insurance Agency for their regular health checkups and treatment.
In fact, it is very important because at least it is a program that will help the vulnerable, those who don't have to have access to quality health program, just as any other person would do.
The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, a collaboration between the Taraba State Contributory Health Insurance Agency and the federal government, reinforces Taraba State's determination to make quality health care a reality for those who need it most.
And more on public health in the region. The Yobe state government says it has put mechanisms in place to monitor, track and improve all services at hospitals, other facilities and agencies under the Ministry of Health to ensure universal healthcare coverage. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mohammed Lawan Gana, disclosed this at a quarterly performance dialogue with chief executives of healthcare agencies and other public health providers in Damaturu, the state capital.
Be giving us technical support.
Officials of the Yobe State Ministry of Health, its agencies and development partners gather in Damaturu for the quarterly performance dialogue.
We are the one that get partners.
The meeting, directed by the Federal Ministry of Health, reviews progress identifies challenges and ensures that health institutions maintain quality healthcare delivery across the state.
There are so many ways in which people approach how to solve problems in their MDAs. And sometimes if you have sincere discussion with some people, you get some of this information. In the first quarter of this year, most of the things that you've already applied, there's an issue about no funds available for the ones that you are already waiting for. So people will now, relax a bit and say, okay, why should I write another memo when I know that even the first one has been delayed?
The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mohammed Lawal Gana, says the state has recorded significant progress across key health programs, but still faces gaps, particularly in disease outbreak surveillance and response. He stresses the need for continuous monitoring and prompt intervention to sustain the gains.
Those activities that the state has set out to achieve, a lot of them have been achieved, and the data is also speaking to the results that have been, achieved. Though we are not where we are set out to be, but with this consistency, we're very optimistic that we will make, we will reach the necessary destination with time.
The ministry conducts its joint annual review meeting to assess performance in maternal and child health, immunization, health insurance, and other priority programs. This, according to the ministry, promotes accountability, strengthens collaboration among stakeholders, and sets priorities for improved healthcare delivery.
One of the objectives of these meetings is to review the progress made in the implementation of the key health store interventions. So we are going to review some of the intervention. We have developed so many interventions in our AOPs. We have implemented so many from first quarter to second quarter, and at large we will look at, yesterday we have looked at how we are faring from 2025 up to 2026.
When you go to the operational level, nothing is functioning as optimal as you want. You talk about committees, you talk about NPCSR, drug revolving fund, you talk about referrals, you talk about skills of health workers and people at the operational level. We have a lot of gaps. It's a good thing that this avenue has provided us with the opportunity to reform and also improve on our AOP, the next AOP of 2027.
The state government emphasizes accurate data collection and proper record keeping to strengthen accountability at the grassroots. All 17 local government areas are also to hold mandatory quarterly review meetings and submit reports to the ministry for periodic evaluation.
Business activities are now flourishing in Yobe State, with over 50 local and foreign investors expressing interest in investing in some key sectors of the state's economy. The Director General of the Yobe State Agency for Public-Private Partnership and Investment Promotion, Dr. Aliyu Chikaji, disclosed this while briefing journalists on a 2-year success story of the agency. Dr. Chikaji further explains that Yobe is a fertile ground for investment, as there are many untapped potentials in agriculture, economy, industry, trade and livestock, which when harnessed would increase gross domestic product of the state. He adds that beyond investment attraction, the agency has strengthened collaboration with key federal institutions, including the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, Bureau for Public Enterprises, the Nigeria Commodities Exchange and Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council.
We have received over 50 expressions of interest from investors across our priority sectors: agriculture, solid minerals, manufacturing and renewable energy, prominent among this. And a number of these engagements are now at an advanced stage of discussion, beyond introductory meetings, into term sheets, site visits and due diligence. It is our expectation that before the end of this year, 2026, Yobe State will witness a genuine breakthrough in investment flow into the states through our public-private partnership window. Recognizing that Yobe State cannot promote investment in isolation from the national investment architecture, YAPIP has engaged directly with key federal institutions on areas of collaboration that matter directly to investors on the ground. These agencies or organizations include the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission (NIPC), the Nigeria Commodity Exchange (NCX), Rural Electrification Agency (REA), Bureau for Public Enterprises (BPE), Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council (PEBEC), Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF), etc., etc.
The Bauchi state government is strengthening its partnership with the Tunisia government in 4 critical areas: energy, electrification, water and technology. The commitment was reaffirmed during a meeting between Governor Bala Mohammed and the Tunisian ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Mohsen Antit, who led a delegation of executives from the Tunisian Consortium for Africa Development and other leading Tunisian companies to the government house in Bauchi. Our correspondent Hajara Aliu reports.
Bauchi State is taking another step towards strengthening international partnerships as the Tunisian ambassador to Nigeria, Ambassador Mohsen Antit, pays a working visit to Governor Bala Mohammed. The visit follows earlier engagements between state and country during the Financing, Investment and Trade in Africa conference held in Tunisia in 2025. Ambassador Mohsen Antit says the delegation includes technical experts and representatives of leading Tunisian companies with the expertise and capacity to deliver on the proposed development projects.
This visit constructed, a cornerstone to our partnership. Not only between the embassy and Bauchi, but especially between Tunisia and Bauchi, between Tunisia and Nigeria as a whole. So many projects are in due course. So everything is okay. The studies, the inspections of the sites.
Members of the delegation revealed that they have conducted extensive field assessments across Bauchi State and are ready to present practical solutions in renewable energy, rural electrification, water resources and technology.
We must confess the passion of these people.
The proposed solar power initiative is expected to provide reliable electricity to major public institutions, including hospitals and government offices.
We have to bring technology to make sure we reinforce whatever our ground troops are doing, our own security, architecture, police, DSS, the army. They must be helped. We have already built a military base in the most exposed area of Ghana, but we need technology to monitor. And again, the issue of water for consumption, sustainability for it, to provide rural water in our local governments, because we are a state where only few local governments have water. And we want it cheap to be done the way they have done their own, so that it is going to be affordable.
He says Bauchi State is committed to leveraging Tunisia's expertise and experience to accelerate development across critical sectors of the state's economy. Following the high-level meeting, both delegations moved into a technical session to fine-tune proposals and chart a practical roadmap for implementing the areas of collaboration. Hajara Aliu, Channels Television News.
Still to come on the program, in Gombe State, the APC says it has gotten a major boost following the endorsement of its governorship candidate by party stalwart and former aspirant himself, Aliyu Combat. We'll have details of this and more coming your way after the break. Join us again. Welcome back. As political parties continue to align and realign ahead of the 2027 general elections, the All Progressives Congress in Gombe State says it has received a major boost following the endorsement of its governorship candidate, Jamilu Gwamna, by party stalwart and former governorship aspirant Aliyu Kombat. Kombat's political structure, which he says spans all 114 political wards in the state, has pledged its support for the APC candidate, while party leaders say this alliance will strengthen their campaign ahead of the 2027 polls.
The venue is filled with party members, government officials and supporters as leaders of the All Progressives Congress gather to witness the formal endorsement of the party's governorship candidate, Mr. Jamilu Gwamna, by Aliyu Kombat and his supporters. The gathering marks the formal integration of the political structure of APC chieftain Aliyu Kombat into the party's campaign organization as it seeks to consolidate support ahead of the governorship election. Addressing the crowd, APC governorship candidate Mr. Jamilu Gwamna promises an inclusive government with a strong focus on youth participation. He also announces Aliyu Kombat as the commander of the youth-driven campaign, which will mobilize support for President Bola Tinubu, Governor Inowa Yahaya, and other APC candidates.
Whoever abandons the youth abandons the future of that society. But in Engineer Aliyu, we have found our future, and you are our future. Therefore, we are very grateful for this initiative, and I want to use this opportunity to ask for your support in making sure that we deliver APC from top to bottom.
This support is based on a conviction that the APC will put up a strong performance during the 2027 elections.
The current governor, what he did, I don't think we need to go and suffer ourselves in campaign, because what the current governor Alhaji Muhammad Inaya has done to the state is clear. I'm sure even if you're not from Gombe, you can see for yourself, right? So we don't need to suffer in campaigning, because our current governor has done a lot, you understand, and inshallah our chances is 99.9%.
Others describe the alliance as a significant development for the party's grassroots campaign.
Politics is like a game. You cannot predict, but we hope with the caliber of this incoming governor, inshallah, both women and youth will benefit, because as you see now, the person who stands behind Engineer Aliyu Muhammad is just 42 years. To me, that he's a youth, and he's our leader. I came from Velocity Humanitarian Foundation, so you see the bulk of the gathering are youths and women. Inshallah, as he promised, the candidate, he promised that he's going to work with them, and he will work for the people of Gombe State.
Supporting him exactly is, at least we are hoping, more especially the women within the society, because we said when you build a woman, you build the nation entirely. So we are hoping and putting in mind that Dr. Jamilu will go with women in Gombe State.
APC supporters are confident that this move will strengthen the party's chances at the polls.
An All Progressives Congress subgroup known as the Umbrella of Continuity Forum in Borno State has applauded the decision of President Bola Tinubu to retain Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate ahead of 2027 general election. The convener, Mr. Bunu Umar Abacha, disclosed this at a rally organized by party faithful to celebrate the renomination of the Vice President in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital.
Hundreds of members of the All Progressives Congress, including party stakeholders, youth and women, meet in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to celebrate the retention of Vice President Kashim Shettima as President Bola Tinubu's running mate for the 2027 presidential election. Under the auspices of the Continuity Forum, a coalition of support groups, participants reaffirmed their commitment to mobilize in support for the Tinubu-Shettima ticket, citing what they describe as the administration's achievements.
We have gathered to express our profound gratitude to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for once again placing his confidence in His Excellency, excellent Vice President Kashim Shettima, GCON, by nominating him as his running mate. Mr. President, from the depth of our heart, we say thank you. Your decision affirms that loyalty, competence, character still matter in public service.
I stand before you today to join you in celebrating not just a political decision by Mr. President, but also a statesman's decision by a master strategist. When the ruling All People's Congress submitted the nomination form of the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, as the running mate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu last week, they actually reflected the yearnings of the majority of the members of the party.
The Coalition of Christian Women in Politics, one of the groups within the movement, says its members have obtained their permanent voters' cards and are preparing to support the APC in the 2027 general election.
We are grateful. In the past, we complained that Christian women were not being carried along, but now we are here, ready with our permanent voters' cards. You will see changes and votes from Christian women by God's grace. We should not be left behind. We appreciate the Vice President.
The Continuity Forum says it is intensifying voter mobilization and public awareness campaigns to canvass support for the APC ahead of the 2027 general election.
Now, away from politics, stakeholders drawn from civil society organizations, women groups, security agencies, the media and the health sector have called on the Taraba state government to establish sexual assault referral centers in 3 senatorial zones of the state to improve access to comprehensive care for victims and survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. The appeal was made during a 3-day workshop on policy review and validation organized by the Taraba State Ministry of Health in partnership with LifeSpring Development Foundation.
Representatives of various women groups, security agencies, healthcare professionals and media practitioners gathered to deliberate on the unending negative trend of sexual assault in Taraba State and the consequences. These stakeholders regret that victims do not get timely access to medical care, psychological support, legal assistance and justice due to the absence of dedicated sexual assault response centers, a situation they believe needs to change.
To carry this particular awareness and this particular guidelines to the people in the facility and to the communities. And you know, most of our traditional rulers and other stakeholders in the community, they're not aware about these particular guidelines. But I want to assure you, as civil society, we are community people, this particular message will go to the rural areas.
When you talk about gender-based violence, the women and the children are the worst affected. You find a 3-year-old girl being raped, you find a woman being harassed and raped on her farm, and then sometimes to get justice is a problem, and even to get medical attention in the hospital becomes a problem. And sometimes, especially the one that we're about to ensure that there's a policy on ground for safe termination of pregnancy, that's top guideline. And all these ones, there are cases where the woman is bleeding and then the doctor is afraid which is, the chances of the woman living is about maybe 80-20.
Cases of gender-based violence remains high in Taraba State as calls equally increase for a review of the Violence Against Persons Law.
We are here in Taraba this time around to review the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law and the Safe Termination of Pregnancy Guidelines, which are essential instruments for comprehensive sexual reproductive health service delivery in Nigeria. As you are aware, this is under the intervention of the federal government of Nigeria, managed by the sector-wide approach coordination office of the Federal Ministry of Health, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agencies, the state government, and implementing partners.
For the state government, its health sector reforms will include a comprehensive service for survivors of gender-based violence and sexual assault.
Nigeria is the second highest to India in terms of maternal mortality, maternal deaths across the globe. So looking at the population of India, India is over 1.4 billion and Nigeria we are over 200 million, but we are second in the world. So what do we do? That is why in this meeting you will see that all the critical stakeholders are there, the religious bodies are also here. How do we address this issue of unsafe termination of pregnancy in our societies that is claiming the large, especially our teenage young girls? So what do? We are looking at the law, we are also looking at the medical implication of this so that we should be able to address it, to reduce, to crash the maternal mortality associated with this unsafe termination of pregnancies.
These discussions form part of ongoing efforts to strengthen policies and institutional frameworks aimed at enhancing reproductive health outcomes in Taraba State.
And that's it on the program. Thank you for watching, and we enjoin you to join us again same time next week. We'll bring you another round of reports coming from across the country. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.